guys, welcome to the show. I'm Manny.
I'm Terrence.
And here are the goods. So box office last weekend was, it's gonna get worse. But Boss Baby did $50 million. Not too bad, knocking Beauty and the Beast down to second place with $45 million. So that's pretty good.
Only in, what, the third week?
Third week, yeah.
Yeah, I thought Beauty and the Beast would at least go a full month being at number one, than to see it knocked out in the third week by Boss Baby, which was it's an original property, so
yeah. It's got a lot of it's been like everywhere on all the kids shows, like Cartoon Network and stuff. It's everywhere, so it's not a surprise. Probably people are already getting tired of the songs already, and bestiality. So yeah. Boss Baby got number one, Beauty and the Beast got number two, and disappointment for Scarlett Johansson, Ghost in the Shell, number three with only $18 million.
Okay, so I have two problems with it. One, the one that it did so poorly when they spent so much money and so much marketing went into this film. It's almost going to ruin the fact that they would do this. So Akira may not probably even happen after this now. Anything else that's been like an adaptation of anime, even though this was probably like the best adaptation of an anime property, it's probably going to kill because it didn't do so well. It's probably going to kill everything else coming out. And then Scarlett Johansson's supposed to bring, if we want to see a Black Widow movie, if she can't sell this movie with a fan base already, how's she gonna sell a Black Widow movie?
She sold Lucy without anything. So
too bad she did the same thing.
That's not necessarily the issue, but Aspen, you were talking about it earlier as far as the whitewashing. I think that really had an effect on it.
I mean, here.
Yeah, it really did have an effect on it, and it's not like I'm pretty sure possibly that it's going to do well overseas. I didn't look at the international numbers, but Great Wall did crap here, and then it did like it opened at $67 million in China. So there's the different audiences. We were talking about it before, like Warcraft and all that for international markets.
Right.
This one just here is it just did not click. So I think the boycotting had a lot to do with it. I think the girl can carry a movie.
Oh yeah.
I just don't think that this was the right property for her.
I mean, going into it, I thought it was. What's funny too is that I think it should do better, especially like in Japan, because there was a video that came out where they actually interviewed a lot of the people on the street, asking them how they feel about Scarlett Johansson being cast as a major in this film. They were all right with it. For the most, they were all right with it. They said
it actually, in the bodysuit.
Yeah. They were like, they said it makes sense because of how she's drawn, with colored eyes and stuff like that. And it was like if they would have done it with an Asian actress, they would have had to do all this stuff. They would have just kind of made it stand out and look fake. So they were actually pretty comfortable with it, and they were excited to see it. So I hope it does well in Japan, because if not, it ain't happening.
I think that if they hire the right person to add to, as far as the casting, I think maybe Akira will still happen, possibly.
He'll be Asian. That will be for sure.
Yeah. No, they want Asian, not Caucasian. So get it right, Hollywood.
There's an Asian.
All right. So that's that. Number 4 was Power Rangers, $14 million. That's a pretty big drop.
Well. That movie was a story of two halves for me, and it was like I liked the beginning. I did not really like the end. About an hour in to become Power Rangers, that's way too long. I mean, they had to do an origin story.
Yeah, it's like too damn long for me.
It was like, hey, we got some suits and some aliens, and y'all ready? Cool, let's go. They couldn't do that. They had to tell you who the Power Rangers were, how they met, how they got together. Heck, they at least spent 30 minutes on it in the series when they first started. You can't give them an extra 30 minutes in a big budget movie when it's new people. Of course, give them an hour. Just maybe they could have done the ending a little better. Okay, and now, Elizabeth.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You and Aspen over here hate Elizabeth Banks in here. What's the deal?
Because she comes off like... Remember how we talk about like people realizing that they're in a comic book movie or in something that was intended for kids and then just kind of being goofy about it? They went through... Maybe it's the person who wrote the film. They went through this whole where she was like this kind of witchy character. And then they transitioned her into something else, and it didn't make sense of why she was this character at the very beginning of the movie, and then you're an hour into the movie, they shift her over to something completely different.
Also, the original Rita Repulsa was Asian.
Whitewashing again.
Well,
whitewashing again. God dang it.
I mean, they had Asian in here.
Well, one movie I'm actually proud of, that's Kong, actually. Kong rounded out the top 5 with $8 million, and even though you said a lot of crap about this movie, I think it's freaking amazing.
I just don't like how soldiers in the movie.
And it's 478 million worldwide so far, on its way to $500 million.
Well, we are definitely getting a King Kong versus Godzilla. That's happening.
Yeah.
Akira ain't happening.
Have faith, Clay. Have faith. There's some decent reviews out there for Ghost in the Shell. If you guys, speaking of,
Ghost in the Shell.
Speaking of, you know, if you guys want to check out a review on Ghost in the Shell, check out Terrence's review. It's spoiler free, so you don't have to worry about it if you haven't seen it. It's on our site right now, so be sure to check it out.
I try not to be too big of a fanboy with it, loving the property as an anime, as an anime, but it had good things and it had bad things.
Be sure to check out Terrence's review. This coming week is Going in Style with Michael Caine, Morgan Freeman, Alan Arkin. It's an older heist guy, like Tough Guys back in the day. Do you remember that movie Tough Guys with Kirk Douglas and Burt Lancaster when they robbed the train?
I remember the movie coming out. I remember not seeing it.
Okay, well, this is Going in Style. It's a lot like that.
So I won't be seeing it.
We probably won't be seeing that movie. Another one opening up is Smurfs. To give Boss Baby a run, this one is actually
crushed.
Yeah, I think this one is it's only budgeted for $20 million. I think it's all animated. It's not live action, so Neil
Which
Patrick
is better.
Harris
They should have
will not
never
be here.
done that in the first one.
I think it's not. I don't really think it's gonna do good. We'll have to see, but I don't think it's gonna do good. We'll see.
I think this film should have came out when the first Smurfs came out, and they shouldn't have done that live action.
The live action thing.
That was a bad idea.
Well, let's talk trailers.
All right.
My favorite. First trailer I want to talk about. We talked about Justice League, and we talked about what was the last one? We talked about Justice League and Spider-Man. This week they've got some two horrors now. Okay, we got Stephen King's.
We got two horrors.
We got two horrors. There's some dirty. All right. Stephen King's It came out. The trailer for it came out. It's already beaten the amount of views that Fate of the Furious.
Okay.
It already beat the amount of views that movie got. That's how many views it's got. It's a very creepy trailer. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It looks really good. It looks like it's staying true. True to the miniseries. Now that was like 4 hours long.
Yes.
How do you think they're going to compact 4 hours into?
They're going to cut a whole bunch of stuff out, or they're going to give us a trilogy.
A trilogy or part 1 and 2?
You know what? You would think outright to say like, okay, this is a 2 hour movie. They could do another 2 hour movie. It'd be part 1, part 2. But that's not how Hollywood works. They were like, oh, we can make more money by stretching it out to a third one, i.e. The Hobbit. So they can stretch it out to a trilogy and then make you pay for all 3 movies just to get to the end.
Well, it's a big Stranger Things vibe.
Oh.
Huge Stranger Things vibe. I got from that. So,
but still, it's like you would say Stranger Things was an It vibe.
And
or Goonies vibe, yeah. So
Goonies, Stand By Me, stuff like that. Yeah, you're right. Bill Skarsgård, I think that's his name. He looks amazing as Pennywise. I think that the makeup on that dude and the way the new spin on it, there's like
the head.
Yeah, and the way they have his hair and the way, because they make him look completely different from I think a little different than what they did for Tim Curry.
Oh yeah, he looks completely different. Yeah. The only thing is that it's reminiscent, but it's completely different.
Yeah, modern take. I think the makeup is awesome. He looks really creepy as hell. The contacts look great. There's some cheesy moments with a little run there, but but it's very, very ghostly, creepy, weird.
It's I just don't. I hope they don't do a trilogy. I hope they wrap it up in one movie. I don't need to wait around 2 years to see the next part of a movie that I got to see the next day on TV when it came out.
I got a big Krueger vibe too.
It does. It gives you a lot of Nightmare on Elm Street because it comes with real like dream sequencey and things, especially with the balloon, and when the little kid down and it all floats and
so you float down here.
You float down. all that stuff comes off real dream sequency, and that's totally Nightmare on Elm Street Avenue.
But the way they look at Derry, I think that's what it's called, right? Derry. And
the town is
like Derry, and then it's a lot like Springwood. That's where Elm Street is. Mm-hmm. So that's and the way they have all of the missing children, the sign. They're just really reminiscent of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Being in the classroom. I mean, that's a staple of Nightmare on Elm Street films.
Oh yeah. So like I said, Skarsgård's taking over for Tim Curry, who actually was approached to do Pennywise.
I can't believe he turned it down.
After his stroke, he wasn't able to talk and all that stuff. So love you, Tim. You're still freaking iconic. Your version was awesome.
Yes.
But I'm looking forward to that one. Second trailer, Annabelle Creation.
Okay, I'm confused by this trailer. It doesn't explain enough, and all it did was just make me ask questions.
Okay, so we saw the spirit of the little girl. They said it was Annabelle, but yet in The Conjuring, or in the first Annabelle, the doll was used as a conduit for a demon. So which
girl
is
a demon?
So which is it?
The girl is a demon.
That's it.
This movie is not connected to Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Right, but I'm talking about the Annabelle movie, the actual movie. At the end of Annabelle, the demon picks up the doll and he's on the side like that. He looks on the side. So if the doll is a conduit for the demon, then why is it coming off like a ghost movie? I don't get it.
This new one is called 2 or like Creation or whatever, but it's actually pre.
Right. It's the creation of the doll itself. Yeah, I got it. It's just give me the power, I beg of you.
Yes, that's what this is. This is child's play. They're selling this child's play again. Look, they did it better back then. Special effects weren't great, but they did it better back then. Go watch Child's Play. You don't need to see this movie because if that's what they're gonna give us is Child's Play 2017. I'm not sure if I want to see that.
Yeah. That's all I really got to say about that, because I'm still confused.
Yeah, because the demon is going to get shot and while he's robbing a store, trying to get away from the cops, and then he's going to find a doll, the Annabelle doll, and he's going to put his hands over the doll, and the tornado's going to start, and and the doll's going to transfer his, the demon's going to transfer his soul into the doll, and then they're going to give it to a little kid.
So anyway, all right. Comic news. Spider-Man may be leaving the MCU after the Homecoming sequel.
Stupid. Sony don't like money. That's what it is. Sony don't like money.
If they both do well, they may change their mind.
Of course.
He is supposed to come, Spider-Man, Tom Holland is supposed to come out in Infinity War, which starts filming this year.
Right.
Do you think, with this recent talk of the Venom and this multiverse and also this other universe, do you think that has anything to do with this decision?
Yes. Because what it is that they agreed to this deal basically to keep from giving back Spider-Man and also it was gonna be Fantastic Four in a minute. It was like they were a film away from it being, just nobody wants to see it at all. So they went through this just basically to kind of dig themselves out of this hole. They figured it was like, we'll work for a couple of films, we'll get ourselves out of the hole, and then we'll start making our own films again, so that way we don't have to share any of the proceeds with Marvel, and then we can just rake it all back in. It's gonna backfire on them. Their ideas are dumb. These ideas are absolutely dumb. And it's like, and then on top of the ideas that you guys have for movies coming out later on being dumb, taking Spider-Man out of the MCU is gonna be the biggest thing that you're gonna do, because once you take it out of canon, then all people are gonna sit there and think, it was like, how does this tie to Avengers? It was like, so where's Spider-Man at in this Avenger movie? Or where's Spider-Man at in this, Iron Man movie?
That's why I think that the whole Miles Morales part would actually be better for that.
It's too soon because you put him in high school.
Anyway, but for the Venom movie, in that world, in that universe, I think the Miles Morales Spider-Man would actually be better fit for that one, and let this one stay where it is, and just share. Because
it would make sense, because Miles Morales didn't have anything to do with Venom.
Well, do make up something.
Make up something. It's called movies, Terrence.
Move it. Get on it. Staying with comic book news. Now, this one is crazy, because a couple weeks ago, we were talking about the making or the director. What director should pick up? It was Batman, and there was like all these different titles we were talking about, and you mentioned Favreau that would possibly be a good hit for Man of Steel 2. That's what it was. Okay. And I said he had all that success with Iron Man 1 and 2, and then executive producing Avengers. Why would he leave, right? Well, Joss Whedon, who had the most success with Avengers, is jumping ship and joining.
Well, Joss Whedon had already left.
The DC, yeah, but he's going to DC and potentially be directing the Batgirl solo movie.
And what's funny about that, two things. One, because he left he didn't do, he's not here for the last Avengers movie because he said he was tired, he was burnt out. It's a lot of work doing the Avenger movie, especially with having a studio kind of with their presence. Yeah, exactly. So then he goes to a studio who's even worse with doing that.
That's true.
Who's even worse with doing that, but he's not doing the Justice League, so he's doing it's kind of an ensemble film, with it's not an ensemble. It's Batgirl. I'm thinking, for some reason I was thinking of Gotham City Sirens. But it's a smaller piece. He can base it around one character. Maybe they can say like, hey, you did these great things, do whatever you want to do, Josh.
And I think that they will not mess with him, to be honest with you. I think they'll give him the creative reign to do what he's got to do. Gotham City Sirens is going to be the next one, or one of the next ones is coming up as a spin-off for Harley Quinn. Batgirl may come out in it though. That's where they might introduce the character until it's finally time to spin her off into her own movie, which Joss Whedon might.
And that makes
end up
sense.
directing.
That absolutely makes sense.
Now this one is based on the New 52.
Well, okay.
Okay, it takes place after the Killing Joke.
Okay.
So
wait. She in a wheelchair?
no, she's not. Well, she got her ability to walk, but she's still traumatized by what happened.
So
in
why
the Killing Joke.
are you even referencing that?
I don't know. I did not write the shit.
Josh.
I'm just telling you.
Josh.
Can I do some journalistic reporting here? Joss Whedon was actually not happy with Ultron, which was one of the reasons why he left in the first place. He was not happy with it. He felt limited, like you said, a lot of talking in his ears. So, who should play this? Who should play Batgirl? We got Gina Rodriguez from Jane the Virgin, right? That's what it's called.
No.
Haley Stansfield from Pitch Perfect. And there's another actress, I can't remember her name, and I'm sorry. She's from Riverdale, I believe. They're thinking about her. So,
Dude, Riverdale just came on and they're already.
right? So who would you pick to play Batgirl?
None of these.
Would you give it to John Malone? I'm thinking Emma Stone, to be honest with you.
No, she's too old.
Emma Stone?
Yes.
No, she's old in this one. In this incarnation, she's gonna be old. It's later gonna be old.
We're
she's older.
Geriatric Batgirl.
Throw this back.
What? Emma Stone's not like she's in her 30s already.
No, is she? She's not. She's like in her mid-20s. Or okay, late 20s. I don't know, she's in La La Land. I don't know. She la her ass back to the freaking 20s. Like, to the 1920s.
I don't know. Some other options need to come up for Batgirl. These I don't really like. Well, one, because I don't know enough about this girl.
Well, she already had an easy A. She can have an easy B.
How long ago was Easy A? Easy A was what, like in the 90s?
That was awful. Yes, Aspen.
Can I vote for Halle Berry to be Batgirl?
No.
You may not do that.
Oh, man.
I'm not Batgirl. Halle Berry is Wonder Woman's love interest, and that's the way I want to keep it.
That's terrifying.
But you're okay with Poe and Finn.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll see.
Don't ruin my Star Wars.
We'll see who ends up playing her. It's gonna be interesting. There's a lot of really gifted, talented actresses out there that could take this role.
Anybody else? These three picks are not good.
I still like Emma Stone.
No.
Alrighty, Megan Fox. And give Emma Stone Poison Ivy.
And then that skin tight Batgirl.
Okay. And she wears gloves. So
she wears gloves.
So you won't have to see the film anymore. Oh, you're so freaking superficial. Hey!
It's a dream right here. It's a dream.
So in Terrence's favorite movie franchise of all time, Transformers.
Okay.
So The Last Night is the last Transformers movie that's going to be directed by Michael Bay.
I don't believe it. But he did. The last two were supposed to be his last one.
That's true. But he did confirm that Paramount has 14 more that they want to put out.
And he's going to be in every one of them.
14 more in store. They created a writer's room. It was assembled in 2015, and Paramount has ideas for 14 Transformer movies.
And I bet you it's not going to be all live action. It's going to be, some of it's going to be animated. Some is probably going to be, I bet you it's going to be like another TV show.
I think it's going to be
animated movies.
Borderline Star Wars with spin-offs. And I mean, they're already going to do the Bumblebee spin-off.
I don't want spin-offs. Transformers have never been written that way. They've never been about a solo character. I mean, obviously the biggest solo character you can think of would be either Prime or Megatron, but they still had a team, and it was like they were leaders. Well, we haven't seen Ultra Magnus yet, so there's a lot of. We're gonna get an Ultra Magnus solo film.
Possibly, you never know.
Like we need to know the Ultra Magnus story. How he was basically Prime painted white with the Magnus costume on him. He's basically Prime.
Well, everybody knows that Paramount is in financial trouble, and they stop making monster trucks. You won't be in this, or Ben-Hur. Anyway,
all the other crap.
So they are in serious financial trouble, but this franchise has brought in $3.7 billion. Is it safe to say that they're just going to concentrate on Transformers?
They're going to milk Transformers. It's like, our slate for this year, it's Transformers.
Bumblebee 2! Bumblebee Tuna! There you go.
Exactly. We're going to get a Dinobots movie. We're going to get a Bumblebee movie. We're going to get We're gonna get a movie based on Cybertron. We're gonna get a movie with Unicron. We're gonna get
unicorns.
Yeah, we're gonna get the we're gonna get all the merging. I forget the names right now.
I don't know.
Combiner Wars. That's what I was looking for. We're gonna get Combiner Wars.
One person that you're not gonna see in this is Shia LaBeouf.
I can see that.
And
he didn't come back for this one. He ain't come back.
In WTF news
already,
Shia LaBeouf, star of this movie Man Down. He plays a war veteran with PTSD.
Okay.
It premiered in one theater in the UK and sold one ticket.
Holy God. Did they market the movie? I bet you they didn't. I bet you Shia LaBeouf was like, we're gonna put this movie out.
But one ticket?
Nobody knew what it was.
One damn ticket. Are you kidding me?
They probably just had a picture of Shia LaBeouf on the poster, and he's probably just looking down, all sad like Shia LaBeouf always does. His Shia LaBeouf look. But it's like he was probably like looking down there like, oh, that's.
And he couldn't even break even, Stevens. Thank you very much. Well,
that was don't no.
Shia LaBeouf was one of the top actors back in the day, you know, with movies like Transformers, Indiana Jones. He had a lot of stuff going on.
Fury,
you know, he made a little bit of a comeback with Fury, but he really wanted to stick to the independents and stay away from all of the executives and all that other stuff that Hollywood comes with, right? Or that comes with Hollywood. So he went that indie route. He's gotten some praises here and there, but a lot of his movies from independents have gotten really negative attitudes, negative responses.
Right.
So, yeah, one ticket.
I bet you, like, he's not Beyonce. I'm sorry. You can't just put something out with no marketing and just like sell $1 million. You can't do that.
Oh,
you
man.
need some marketing. People need to know it out. You need to do some commercials. You need to go on some talk shows. You need to tell people movies gonna come out. Put it on social media, and then he would have sold 5 tickets.
Give him Nightwing.
No.
He's too old.
Okay, if he can't be Batgirl, he can't be Nightwing.
Well, damn it. Put him on Batman Transformers then. Screw it.
Make him Jason Todd.
Yeah, he's gonna get killed anyway. There you go. Sorry, Shia. You're still awesome to me. You're awesome. Sorry. Top 5 Shia. No, I'm kidding. All right.
That's an idea.
That's an idea. But that's not today's. Now it's time for our top 5. And we're back off Flash.
No substance.
So today's top 5 is going to center around anime to live action, but the worst ones. Now, we've already talked about Ghost in the Shell and how much of a disappointment it is, but is that the only one that's done it, or are there more? Well, guess what? There have been a crap load.
All right.
But we're just going to give you 5. So, Terrence, go first.
All right. So, there are a lot of bad movies that were animation that got translated to live action. But for some particular reason, I figured I'd pick the worst. So my number 5.
Number 5.
Dragon Ball Z. Evolution. That is
Evolution of crap.
so bad. I mean, like, on the scale of bad, it is beneath bad. It's just way, way bad. Because not only did we talk about whitewashing, they whitewashed the hell out of it.
Yes, they did.
And then all their special effects were on like the worst budget ever. So like, it had to be a point where they had to say like, should we even do this film? Because we can't even do any of the special effects that the cartoon has. When you can't do cartoon special effects in a movie, you just gotta give up. You gotta give up. It's one thing where it's like, oh man, it's like the visual spectacle of this movie, and it was Dragon Ball Z. Half of Dragon Ball Z is somebody powering up, and you couldn't even do that right. Let me stop. Number 4. Number 4. Speed Racer.
That was number 4?
Yeah, Speed Racer. Speed Racer is number 4. Maybe it should have been number 5 because Dragon Ball Z was worse. But Speed Racer, Speed Racer was bad because once again it was whitewashed. It was whitewashed so bad, and it didn't get the fun that was in the original TV show. It missed that whole point. It was pretty and it was like all the flashing lights and the colors and stuff like that, but it never sold me about him really being in these real races and it didn't get the comedy with his dad and his little brother and Racer X, and I never got any of that from that movie. That's what made Speed Racer fun.
Right.
And it's the whole little action scenes where he did the bad karate in animation. Once again, if you can't do the special effects from animation, that's just what made Speed Racer fun. And this one just never seemed. It just seemed like a big bright pile of mess. I didn't want to say what I wanted to say, but it was just big and bright and just pretty, but it didn't really have anything. So that's why I didn't like this movie. All right. And number 3, G.I. Joe.
Which one?
The first one.
You like Liza Cobra?
No!
Right.
Look, they changed the whole Cobra Commander and Dr. Mindbender.
I didn't like that.
They didn't like that. I didn't like what they did with Duke falling in love with the Baroness. That's Destro's girl.
Okay.
Really? And then Baroness didn't even have her whole little...
Rachel Nichols looked great.
She looked great, but she didn't even have the European accent. Okay. She didn't have the accent.
You're talking about the Baroness?
Yes.
No, I'm talking about Scarlet from G.I. Joe with the red hair.
Oh, I'm talking about the Baroness. She didn't have the accent. Marlon Wayans, like him or love him in the movie.
As Ripcord?
Man.
Did you buy taters as Duke?
Barely. I would have because Duke was always like this authoritative figure. Channing Tatum has never been authoritative.
That's why it was kind of tough to buy that way. I did buy Dennis Quaid as Hawk though. He did good.
That, yeah.
I would have liked him to be Duke instead. It would
He's
have
probably a little bit too old though.
Okay.
All right, so that brings me to number 2.
Number 2.
If you love anime, like I love anime, you may be a fan of this movie called Fist of the North Star. It got a live action movie. Nobody saw it because it was horrible. Another film that was whitewashed.
Are we beginning to see a trend here?
Maybe because this was just the American version of it, but it had so many Asian themes to Fist of the North Star, it didn't make sense why this one was whitewashed.
Like the Great Wall.
But, so in the cartoon, or in the animation, or in the anime, he does this move where he hits you and he punches you so fast that you really don't see the punches coming. So we got somebody trying to redo that in live action, and he's going... It was the most ridiculous shit I've ever seen before in a live action movie. It looks so bad, it looks ridiculous, and it just never came over well. Once again, with special effects, with a low budget, if you can't do the special effects, don't do the movie. And that really hurt this movie, and the stupid punching thing that he did, which is in anime, just didn't look right on film. Number 1! Can you guess my number 1?
Is it the Guyver?
It is not the Guyver. But that will be on my honorable mentions. My number 1, Transformers. Come on, man.
Okay, but which one? Because the first one was not bad.
Number 2.
So Revenge of the Fallen.
Yes, number 2, where they did the whole racist Autobots.
Okay, what about the whole Master and Apprentice? Since when the hell is Megatron?
Oh, he's never subservient to anybody.
Yes. That's the one thing I did not like about that movie.
That movie had faults all the way around. It was like they did this, the Jetfire thing didn't quite make sense.
I didn't like the Devastator.
The Devastator was horrible. Just the whole fact that they couldn't bring Prime back to life, but they brought Megatron back to life with the sliver of the damn thing. Yeah, and it was like, dude, Shia, come on, just. The same stuff, they just brought Megatron back together. It was like, what are they? They're better scientists than the Decepticons?
Oh, man.
But the movie missed on so many different fronts. And yes, the first one was decent. Yes, but the second one was horrible. And that was basically a live action movie of an animation, so it qualifies. And I hate Transformers to live action.
Dark of the Moon's good.
The first one was decent.
All right, my number 5 is Speed Racer. And it is a beautiful movie to watch.
Very beautiful.
But John Goodman looked out of place. Christina Ricci looked amazing.
Yeah, she did.
But it was, you're right, the comedy in it was horrible. The little brother was annoying as hell. I hated the monkey.
The monkey was...
It was bad. It was really bad.
I know what they were trying to do, they just couldn't capture it.
Yeah. I just didn't buy Emil Hirsch as freaking Speed Racer. No. It was really hard for me. I just couldn't.
Maybe because he didn't talk fast and he didn't make all these little quick movements?
Maybe.
And I gotta win this race.
We're gonna win this race. Number 4, The Last Airbender. I thought I thought the kid looked good, but it was really bad and boring.
It was boring.
It was really boring.
boring.
The effects were really good, but I thought that honestly, I don't know what the hell Shyamalan was thinking, because it was just really slow, in my opinion.
I don't think he knew how to do action.
Maybe not, but I mean,
they gave him an action film, and he didn't know how to do action.
yeah, After Earth, just straight up. It's really horrible.
That's not an action film.
Number 3. Yeah, Dragon Ball Z was absolutely the worst. I saw it like halfway and I turned it off because it sucked that bad. I couldn't even bear it. And I'm not even that big of a Dragon Ball Z fan, but just by looking at it and but just by comparing the two animations and the animation and that, it doesn't even appear to be not even close.
So I mean, they did Green Piccolo.
Horrible.
That was about all they did right in that movie. They made Piccolo green.
Number 2, Fat Albert.
I have a little fondness for
Keenan,
Fat Albert.
I love you, but that was horrible. That movie sucked, dude. I could not stand that movie, dude.
In my heart, I have a little fondness for this movie.
I do not like that movie.
It was funny. It was funny. It wasn't great, but it was funny.
No,
I liked it.
It was horrible. I did not like it. And my number 1.
Number 1!
Adventures of Bullwinkle.
That was a movie! I forgot that was
Robert
a
De
movie.
Niro, Jason Alexander, Rene Russo.
I totally forgot
that
was a
movie sucked so bad, and I'm thinking, what the hell did they pay De Niro? Because that must have been like, well, here's the yacht that movie paid for, but that, but that movie was
on that Bullwinkle money.
It was. It was freaking horrible, dude. It sucked, dude. I hated that movie.
I didn't watch that movie because I guess it's one of those things where like you see it and like, oh, this is gonna be bad. I ain't gonna watch that. I forgot it even existed.
Just look at freaking Jason Alexander. I mean, just him by himself, and yeah, Boris and Natasha. Oh man, it was horrible. It sucked.
Because he was a thing at that time. Because it was coming off of Seinfeld, and he was a thing at that time. I see why they cast him.
It was still bad. All right, honorable mentions. Go ahead.
Honorable mentions. Guyver!
Why?
Sorry guys, it's an inside joke.
I'm officially the worst host ever.
Both incarnations of the Guyver were very horrible. Even though the second one got a little bit closer to what the anime was, they were both still bad movies. They just weren't carried out well at all. Other honorable mention, Masters of the Universe, because they couldn't even keep us on Eternia. They couldn't deal with the fact about He-Man and Prince Adam. They basically just made him He-Man all the time. And Skeletor was just bad. Skeletor.
You didn't like Frank Langella as Skeletor?
No, I didn't like I didn't like the whole representation they did of Skeletor. Is one, the mask. I mean, one, it's a hard character to do because basically he is a floating head. I mean, he is a person. He's a person in this muscular body with a floating skull head. It's not even a red skull. It's even like more than that with a hood on, which really doesn't make any sense. Like, what's holding the hood when his head floats? Can y'all explain that to me? I never understood that as a kid. Like, how's that Steven his head?
That's why I made your honorable mentions.
That's why I made my honorable mention. Yeah, that's where I'm gonna stop with my honorable.
All right.
Oh, Scooby-Doo.
Scooby was all right. It wasn't too bad. Scooby was all right. I liked Matt Lillard as freaking Shaggy.
I liked him as Shaggy, but that was about it.
Oh,
I didn't like
geez.
CGI Scooby.
It was all right.
I didn't like CGI Scooby.
Okay.
This is the dude who had a problem with the ABC Warrior and Judge Dredd. You like CGI Scooby?
That was my daughter.
ABC Warrior was a practical effect, man. Come on, man.
All right.
It was good.
Mine was Aeon Flux.
You don't like Aeon Flux?
Charlize, what the hell are you thinking?
I like Aeon Flux.
I did not like Aeon Flux. I mean, some of the scenes were okay. The action sequences were all right, but she looked amazing. But yeah,
I said all those add up to a win.
I did not like that one.
All those add up to a win.
Richie Rich, which was basically Home Alone.
It was Home Alone. It was Home Alone with more
money.
No, because he had money back then. They lived in a
Mansion Alone.
Mansion
Home Alone and Mansion. Oh man. And Flintstones, Viva Rock Vegas. Dude, if you can't get John Goodman to come back as freaking Fred Flintstone, don't make the movie. Mark Addy is not, and Stephen Baldwin
on John Goodman,
and freaking Stephen Baldwin is no Rick Moranis. Don't bring him back. No, horrible movie. That was it for me.
That's it.
Terrence, take take us home.
All right, so another top 5 down, and we always like you guys to make sure you comment. Let us know what your top 5 films are, whether they're American versions that got translated into live action or anime that got translated into an American version in live action. Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you guys subscribe so that way you know about all the other videos that we're doing and whenever they get ready to come out. And also, too, you can be part of the Goods family.
Pressman in the back, I'm Manny.
And Terrence.
That was the Goods.
Gosh, you guys suck.
See you next week.
You guys suck.
Something to talk about when he was. Forget it.
No, that was rude.
I didn't mean it that way.
I'm changing my number 3.
Okay. Number 3. You mean it's not Guyver? I didn't mean it that way.
I'm tired of talking about Guyver now.
I didn't mean it that way because they show Mark Hamill on the cover, but he ain't even in the fucking movie. But like